What's up and welcome to Idle Insights, a show where each week I, Treavor Bettis, talk to interesting people about Dungeons & Dragons and Idle Champions, and with me this week is my friend and awesome person, Luke McKay!
Bonjour.
How's it going, buddy?
Oh, not too bad. Not too bad.
Yeah, so we got Luke here this week. We're be talking about webcomics and artwork and, your Idle champions and all that fun stuff. But before we get to that, I'm going to do my normal icebreaker question, which is, Luke, how'd you get into D&D?
Well, I'd always known about it like from back in the '80s because I'm Gen Xer, and so that kind of came out right about the time that Stranger Things kind of kids were about my age, and so I was like, "Ooh, this looks fun!" But of course, rural Canada, lots of Christian things, the Satanic Panic, and it's like, no, couldn't play it. Weren't allowed to play it. I've seen a lot of people play it, and I was like, it was kind of interesting, but I was kind of confused. But it wasn't until I was adult and fourth edition came out that Lauren put on a game for my birthday. And
What?
yeah. So my actual first time playing was fourth edition, and that is not a good place to jump in. Start
Hey,
with like
that's where I started too.
I know. I can't imagine how many people who tried to play fourth edition to start and were just, oh, this is too much. Fourth edition is definitely the most complicated, in my opinion. But fourth edition was, I think, marketed incredibly well. They did those D&D Insider cartoons from
Yep.
the guy who does Spidey.com. I can't remember Adam something, but yeah, he did these brilliant little ads for it, and they're like, oh man, like that was some brilliant marketing. That was enough to get me to jump right in.
Yeah. So Lauren was the one that got you into D&D with fourth edition. I love that so much because how much Lauren and I have talked about fourth edition.
Yeah, and with that game, I've played other RPGs, and I had that terrible thing of like when I played RPG, I would always make a character like as much like myself as possible.
Oh, okay.
So when it came to D&D, my first time playing, I was like, I can make a character who's absolutely, completely opposite me. So I made this ridiculous half elf wizard character who was just like kind of lawful evil, was always trying to like do mischief and not really play the game, but just kind of like screw around. And I had a lot of fun with her. I bought a lot of minis for her. I did a bunch of fan art. Like even when we played that one game, that character still sticks out of me. Her name was Branagana Anna.
Branagana Anna.
Because I was like, I couldn't think of a name. I was looking at pictures of Zach Brannigan, like, oh, Brannigan. And I was like, that's a dumb name, and it is a dumm name. It's just
that is a fun name.
Yeah,
I like that name. But that's awesome. I really do love that. Yeah, I like I said, I got started on fourth edition. Technically, I started on 3.5. But when we decided to start running our own campaign, we went to Barnes and Noble, and they had that red box, that cool, like old school cover, but it was fourth edition inside, and we started playing that and had a heck of a fun time. But I do understand what you mean, that was overly complicated.
Yeah, I really found with fourth edition, like we ended up getting to a game as soon as I moved to the United States, and it was like about six players at the table, and it would take all night to pretty much go around the table once. And it's like, oh my goodness. So that's why I love fifth edition. It was just like go, and like everyone got lots of turns. Like in 2 hours you can play like several rounds, do a bunch of things, and like it moves so much faster.
I vividly remember when the playtest for D&D Next came out. I ran what was it? They had Caves of Chaos, I think was the adventure that they did, and I ran the players that I had been playing fourth edition with through that, and we did the first encounter with the kobolds, and it lasted like maybe 30 minutes, and all my players went, wait, it's over? Like, we haven't been playing for an hour. And I went, yeah, I know. And so that was a weird realization moment that everyone had. It was like, okay, combat doesn't, we can do more than 3 combats in one night. Because we were playing for, I don't know, like 5 hours back then. But you do a lot of awesome webcomics for CNE. Actually, I mean, you just do a lot of cool art in general for CNE. How did you get into doing webcomics?
Got into do webcomics, the Rooster Teeth. I'm a nurse, and I was just kind of like doodling for fun. And this is just before YouTube was coming out, so it was hard to put up a video quite often. Like to put up a video cost like tens of thousands of dollars, and you could only make like really small, grainy, and the best you. But so who would come to your site if you only update like once or twice a month at most? So when I pitched a webcomic idea to them, they were like, "Oh, I thought it was just a bit of fun, but they're like, no, we could post that all the time and get new content every day because it's just a simple JPEG, and that'll keep people coming to the site until technology gets better and we can post videos more often. So
Mm-hmm.
that was a really nice collaboration with Rooster Teeth, and those were just a bunch
How
of great
did you
guys.
actually end up meeting with them?
It really just did start online. I was just a big fan, and I was a nurse, so I had a couple extra bucks in my pocket because they paid me pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it just kind of started where I was like, hey, I just put a post online. Does anyone want to come to my house and watch Red versus Blue? And I was quite surprised. People came up, and then it was like, oh, we had a great time. Like, we filled up my apartment, and then the next one said, hey, let's do it again. Anyone want to watch Red versus Blue at my house? And then 100 people responded, and like, oh my goodness, I better rent a theater or something. So I rented a theater, and I was quite surprised. Like, it was $200 to rent a theater for the day. And I'm like, okay.
Oh,
And
sorry. I'm just having this realization. I didn't know that was you because I remember seeing that post because I was on the RVB site. That was my Facebook back in when I was in high school. Like I was on that all the time. I didn't realize that that was you that did that.
yeah, and so just did some cold calling because Kathleen and Joel, characters who play Tex and Caboose, they also
Mm-hmm.
lived on the West Coast. So just kind of messaged like, hey, can I fly you guys up for this little viewing? Do you guys want to come up? And they're like, yeah. And so I just flew them up and put in a hotel, and we started a little convention, and that started off pretty good, and that at least got my name recognized enough that people knew who I was. They
Yeah.
knew that I did drawings. I really was not very good at art at the time, but I mean, I like to draw. It was fun. But mostly I just got to meet people and be online and just kind of like have a good enough interaction with enough people to go like, that guy's not a terrible jerk. I mean, he's not problematic. Like,
Yeah.
we could work with this guy. And so when Rooster Teeth did hire me, they're like, we know you're not a great artist. It's like, you don't have any schooling in this. Like, no, I'm still drawing in MS Paint at this point. So I'm like, no, not really. But they're like, that part can improve, but we like that you can come here and work here, and you're not going to ruin the company, and people are going to like and accept you right away. It's like, okay, good.
I love
So
that.
yeah, that's always one of the best things about, like, if you're ever kind of like wanting to work somewhere, like say at CNE or like at Dungeons and Dragons, stuff like that, to make sure that your online presence is like, hey, are you someone who just argues in the comments? Are you someone who cusses people out in the comments?
Yep.
Or do you say, hey, nice job on this, buddy, and then like kind of ignore the hate and like kind of stick with the positive? Like, that's what people look for, and like that's what kind of got me in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
They,
mean, heck, that if you, it's kind of how I got my job.
yeah, yeah, they got to me before I came a grumpy old man cussing everyone in the comments. Oh, you damn kids!
Just throwing, you know, your drawing pencils at them and to get them to run away.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you got started with Red versus Blue. How long did you do those?
5 years. So that was a 5 year run.
Wow.
Yeah. So they signed me on a 5 year contract, and also right at the very beginning, like we had like maybe 2 or 3 comics done, and we went to the second Penny Arcade Expo, and Mike and Jerry were right there, like, oh, so you guys are doing a webcomic, like, oh, competition. And I'm like, oh yeah, just kind of ripping me off, because that's pretty much what they wanted to say. Hey, can you just draw like in the Penny Arcade style? I'm like, certainly, yeah, I'll try my best, and I could not do it. So
Okay.
I tried to rip off Penny Arcade and just ended up coming up with my own style in an attempt to doing that and failing. But I ended up coming up with a recognizable style,
Yeah.
which that was a big seller for me, that people could see the art and not have to see like who did it or where it's from, and just go like, oh, I know that style, I know who did that. I can just jump right on and go, hey, that's Luke McKay's art.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just Penny Arcade was really nice to kind of just help us get a jump out the door too. Like they reposted us and things like that. And Mike would show me how to use Photoshop, and yeah, Mike and Jerry were just like very
That's
nice.
so
And
cool.
yeah, and the time Robert Koo was still working there, and he was very nice to kind of just have me in the office and tell me how about the business of web comics, and just so much people just reached out to help me. The guys at Blind Ferret over in Montreal,
Hey, I know them.
they also just accepted me right in. Like, I went to a convention and they were there, like, hi, I'm Luke, I'm also from Canada. Like, hey, well, come out for dinner for us. Let's talk about comics. And they gave me a lot of help. And like, even though Ryan Sommer was incredibly busy writing like 3 or 4 comics at once, I said, oh yeah, I'm starting a new comic, and would you write a script for me? He's like, sure. And I'm just like, oh man, like, I didn't think you'd even have time, but he's like, yeah. So it was
I
quite nice.
used to bring that dude Red Bulls every Comic Con. That's how I would
Oh
say
yeah.
hi. Is I would just walk by and hand him a 4-pack of Red Bull.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I worked the blind ferret booth quite a few times, and yeah, just by the end of the first day, just underneath the table was just nothing but Red Bulls. People
Yeah,
just come by and drop
yeah.
them off.
That's fantastic. I did realize that I should say that, hey, this is actually a live show. So if you would like to put your questions into chat for Luke, you can do so by putting question and then colon and then your question. And our awesome mod Martin will grab those and put them into a little text doc. So be sure to drop those in. So I think what I want to ask next is what do you love about drawing webcomics?
The one thing I love about webcomics is it's so immediate. Like you draw it and you can post it that day. Like you can
Yeah.
write it, draw it, post it, do it like and like publish yourself. Where I am a bit older. I'm a Gen X, and so the only way to do comics back in the day was like to get hired by Marvel or DC or get syndicated in a newspaper, and that was like like 1 out of 1 million artists would never get that position. So
Yeah.
it's a very intangible dream. So a lot of times, like when people made comics in the 90s and early 2000s, it was really just to share just amongst your local friend group. Like you draw little paper ones or photocopy them, or even get like draw them professionally and get them printed. You really only seen like your local area of like them getting out. And so
Hmm.
the moment webcomics came out, like, oh, we can reach everyone like instantly. It was quite amazing. Uh,
What? Oh, good.
yeah, especially with Penny Arcade and Blind Ferret, because they jumped deep into webcomics right at the beginning. They were just like posting like every day, doing a new comic every day, just getting it out there and reaching out as far as possible. It's like, yeah, that was just new territory, and it's just like interesting to see how many people like from all around the world would connect to you when normally you're only used to connecting to people like in your hometown.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. What's wild for me is that, like, I mean, really thinking back to it, yours was the first webcomic I read on Rooster Teeth, and that was the first time I went, wait. People just post comics online, and so that I wouldn't found, like, least I can do Penny Arcade and looking for group. What's the other one that I used? Oh, I used to read Control Delete a bunch too, and yeah, like just being able to, especially when there was ones that had like a huge backlog, and where I'm like, oh, I got into this late, but I have like 300 pages to read, was like one of the best things, because you can't really do that with like a newspaper one. You see a newspaper comic and it's like, hey, that's really funny. I'd like to see the rest of them.
Oh,
Yeah.
pardon me one moment. There's someone at the door.
Okay, that's fine. Hey, look, things happen and we're live, so that's what happens when we're live. So I'm gonna be right here. I love webcomics. So actually, you know what, chat? I want, if you out there read webcomics, I want you to put into the chat what webcomics you like, and which ones you read. So we'll see what's going on there. Everything okay?
Yeah, sorry. Just we scheduled a maintenance guy to come in sometime today, and it was like hey, I'll see you between the hours of 8 and 5 today, and it's right now.
That's what happens. That's what happens. Okay, so yeah, you're saying like why you liked doing web comics and whatnot, but I mean, like this wasn't something that you had planned on getting into.
No,
Uh,
no. I did nursing as a profession,
yeah.
but yeah, never took any art school. But as soon as I did start doing this, I started taking every online class I possibly could.
Okay. Yeah. So like, I guess the way that I'm trying to word this question is like, what is your advice to people who do want to like start getting better at drawing, like at doing this sort of thing?
Well, yeah, I would definitely say, uh, just start. Daily practice is what's going to get you. I guess there's all the same things like do it every day, practice every day, look at other people's work. There's all the things. I guess if I was to give a secret tip, I would say this.
Mm.
When I first started drawing, I was attending the University of British Columbia, and I was in the fencing team. And one thing we did in fencing was we would hold our foils, our fencing swords like this,
Mm-hmm.
and we would like use our fingers to like kind of
Yep.
draw the alphabet with a fencing foil every day
Yep.
and do lots of kind of finger exercises. And we do lots of like strength exercise with our fingers and dexterity, strength. And I noticed the more I did that, just all of a sudden, like it's easier to draw. It's easier to draw. Things are coming out of my brain onto the page much easier just because I had that motor control in my hand. So I would say if you're looking to get into drawing and you're like, oh, this is taking a long time, this and that, and it's like, you know what? Like practice like kind of muscle exercises, like from fencing. Like a lot of like calligraphers and swordsmen are related, and I think that's why, because they practice both the same muscle things. Like,
you just blew my mind.
Yeah, so like, like doing calligraphy, like the fun thing with fencing foil is it's about a meter long weapon, and we put little Sharpies at the end of them, and we'd write the alphabet with it, like a meter away. And so like you got very fine of like drawing from here to here is a short distance, but make that a meter long and draw finely like that. You'll get good fast. You'll get good fast.
My fencing class did not have us do that, and I cannot imagine doing that.
Yeah, so get a stick that's like 3 feet long, and put a pencil at the end of it, and draw with that. And draw badly, draw poorly, just try and do the alphabet. But
Luke, I want you to lead with that part from now on. When someone says, "How do I get better at drawing?" All right, get a stick.
Get a really long pencil. Just like a really long pencil, and draw with that, and then you'll be terrible at it, but all of a sudden it's like, wow, I can do fine things better.
Well, like the reason why I said that you kind of broke my brain on that is because like thinking about it in that way kind of, because like I'm not a good artist. There was like a 1 month period in 2010 that I could actually draw, and then I completely forgot everything. But now you saying that, I realize I'm like, I think I try to draw with my hand more than moving like any of my fingers or anything like that.
Yeah, if you can draw like this, that is going to save you carpal tunnel syndrome and all that stuff. Like the bigger tablet you have, the bigger page you have, and you can do this, you can draw longer and like more easier on your hand. If you're doing like this, if you have like a small tablet to work on, or a small piece of paper, your hand's going to get really sore and really tired really fast. And so basically, if you can, though, if somehow you can, take the time to strengthen your hand to do this so that it can do it longer, you will build up stamina, you'll build endurance, and your dexterity will build up, and literally like it'll come up from your brain onto the page much easier.
Okay.
If you can do like this minor little drawing for like what I and the other C&E artists do, like do this for 8 to 10 hours a day, you will find that your hand will be sore. Like it's like, oh man, it's gonna get sore. It's gonna get sore. But then it stops being sore for like working out. Like push-ups. It's like, okay, this is sore, but it's like, oh, as the days go on, like
you got to do the finger push-ups.
So it's just this little action here of like drawing the alphabet, like put it on a big stick, weight it if you have to, like, build up that hand strength. Those little like kind of like balls, you kind of like do that, and like those little, especially like what are those things? Like in guitar, they have those little finger strengtheners of each individual.
Oh, finger. Yeah.
I used to have one of those as well, and like build up finger strength of just like individual fingers.
I did like that Lex the cat in the chat said wax on, wax off. Yes, that is very appropriate. No, yeah. So
it's weird to think of like art doing physical training for it, because like it's a thing you do. You sit down all day and doodle, but it's like, there's physical training for it.
Yeah. And that's not something like I know that I actually talked about this on Champions of Psychology this week, where like my wife is she does water painting and stuff like that, and she does like drawing and everything, and she enjoys like going on YouTube and watching those videos and whatnot, and learning things and whatnot, and I think it has to do with the fact that she has a skill that she is like, okay, this is good enough that I'm not mad when I'm done with it. I do not have that, and I get done with something like, why isn't this better? I'm gonna stop, and I just throw the pencil and walk away.
Yeah, with things like fine art where you don't have the undo button, it's hard to like kind of get a finished product that you like, because like I could so much to fix. But yeah, for me, fine art is just the one rule of like put some ink or page or put some image down on the canvas, and then like go, fuck, I messed that up. Well, let's fix it. And it's like just the whole time is like I put some initial colors down, now we're just fixing it. That's all we're doing. It's like 10 minutes of actually painting, and then like 16 hours of I can fix that. I can fix that. I can fix that.
Yep. Yeah. No, that One of the other things though is that like you were saying with webcomics, one of the cool things was that you can draw it and make it and then put it out immediately. And there's one
Mhm.
thing that I'm always super jealous about for like for art is because like I'm a writer. I can't do that where I'm like I'm gonna write a thing and then throw it up and people will like no, nobody cares.
Yeah. No, yeah, yeah. The idea of patience is patience is amazing. Like I watch a lot of other fine artists where they'll say, "Yeah, I worked on this piece for like 3 weeks," and like you took one drawing 3 weeks. I'm like, I do. I get 3 hours to work on one. It's like, so it is kind of weird to also like allow yourself time to like with writing. Say, okay, I'm going to write this chapter here, or this. Say even like I'm going to write this paragraph about this scene here. It's like, okay,
Hmm.
you think, okay, I can write a paragraph in an hour. But if you go, what if you give yourself 20 hours to write that paragraph? It's like, that paragraph would be awesome.
Oh God, I don't know. I feel like that paragraph would get real pedantic for me real fast.
Yeah, I don't know. Like for myself, I do a little bit of writing, but yeah, I spend most of my time in my writing editing.
Mm,
That's all I do is like I'll quickly just like blurt out stuff onto the page as quick as I can, and then, yeah, and then for days and days later, I'm just like editing, like trimming words and just
yeah.
kind of rethinking plots and things like that. But yeah,
Yeah, we've talked on Aaron and B Dave's and mine show right about dragons and shit, or it like the we actually talked about this week when it comes to like revisions and whatnot. Like I haven't done a full book revision because I get to the point where I'm just like I'm just gonna rewrite the whole thing. So
oh,
it doesn't really do a revision, it's just an entire rewrite.
I've done that many times. They're trying to written some scripts out for like some comics and like some like longer format action comics, and eventually I look at it, there are so many plot holes here.
Plot holes for days.
Yep. Yeah, and but pretty much yeah, it's easy as you do more and more. You kind of get to notice like, okay, oh, there's time traveling. Okay, just toss away. There's gonna be plot holes.
Yeah. So you work well you do the webcomics for C&E. How did that come about?
Well, I started doing the web comics at D&D Beyond, and then oh my goodness, CNE was already running a webcomic series. They
Hmm.
had just started. Woody was doing those, and I think he got about like half a dozen or so in, and then the pandemic hit, and he had to go off and do some work related to that to keep up with that. And
Hmm.
I guess the guys had just seen like, oh, Luke does very similar comics over for D&D Beyond. I wonder if he's got any extra time. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, I do, because I was just doing the one thing at the time. So yeah, they
Hmm.
hit me up to see if I could do comics for Idle Champions as well. And both those comics have like partial rights to the Forgotten Realms
Hmm.
lore. So that was really nice that I could kind of keep those kind of both juggled in my brain at the same time and kind of keep on the same page. And yeah, just it was a world I just really love. I love the Forgotten Realms. I love the IDW comics that go along with it. There's just like so many great novels like in the D&D Forgotten Realms setting. Like I could just,
Oh yeah.
I could write and draw in there forever.
Yeah, I remember seeing yours first pop up, and I clicked on the the tag to it. And I'm just like, hey, that's the guy from the Rooster Teeth comics I used to read. And yeah, now we're doing Pack Antics every Tuesday. Um, Joint effort on that one.
Yeah, so that was a really nice thing with the Idle Champions game. That was really fun where there was always a nice topic to make a comic about
Hmm.
because the game updates every freaking week. Like
Yep.
there's something new every week. It's like, hey, like would you write a comic about this? Like usually like there's 2 or 3 or 4
Hmm.
things like updating every week. So there's always lots of new things to like, hey, this is going on in the game. Can you draw something about this? Like, yeah, no problem. And then when the idea with Idle Champions having all the weird and fun skins for all the characters,
Hmm.
yeah, when you pitched that idea of the kobolds, like, hey, how about kobold skins for everyone? Like, oh man, it's fucking brilliant. It's like we could run a whole thing with that. Like, mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember them being like, "Oh, we're thinking about doing an ongoing like storyline webcomic," and I just immediately shot my hand up in the air. I was like, "I volunteer! I volunteer to write it. I want to write it."
And that was such an interesting thing for C&E to do,
Mhm.
because like I could understand very much the Idle Champion comics, because they were very much like the D&D Beyond comics, and these are straight marketing material things. Like, hey, like with D&D Beyond, like we have a new book coming out. Here's a comic to help advertise it and like make a fun about it. Same with Idle Champions. Hey, we got a new update to the game. Luke's drawn a little funny thing for it for the comics. Have a look, and like have a look at the comic. Also have a look at the game. So
Mhm.
they were very much like very straightforward. Like, hey, single image. Here's a marketing thing. Let's go. So when C&E decided, like, hey, let's do a little bit of narrative all our own. That
Mhm.
was like something you rarely hear from a company. Like, you guys would be willing to let us do that? And like, yeah, like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and
It's
the
definitely unexpected. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah, no, like I mean, since like, finding your Rooster Teeth comics and whatnot, like I wanted to do a web comic for so long. Like I wrote so many comic scripts when I was in like senior year in early college. I didn't know anyone that could draw. I was just writing these to write them and going like, maybe one day I'll find someone who will draw these. And so it is really wild that like that was the first comic that I saw that got me into it. Now I'm working on a freaking comic with you. Um,
yeah, and I'll say I almost had like the opposite problem when I finished up with Rooster Teeth. And I stepped out on my own to do my own comic, and I was like, hey, let's see if I could find a writer. And I cycled through so many people who were like, yeah, I can write, and they're like, I read their scripts, like, no,
so,
like,
that was beautiful. No.
I mean, yeah, I just a lot of folks. I'm not really a writer myself. I have also taken like along with some online courses for learning to draw. I did take some like
Hmm.
kind of script writing classes and some English literature classes to kind of figure like how does one write a story, and those helped quite a bit. But the more I kind of learned about that, I would read other people's scripts and go, you have no idea what you're doing. Like I thought I had no idea what I'm doing, but like uh, I'm quite surprised still often, like a lot, especially a lot of conventions, like a lot of people will bring some of their like, hey, I have a comic idea. I'd like
Hmm.
to, would you like to work with this? I'm like, oh yeah, sure. Like if this is good, like, hey, maybe I can even pay you. And they tell me their idea. I'm like, no, I never draw that. Like, that's just awful, man.
I remember specifically I had two friends that I bumped into at Comic-Con and they had a comic with them that they had done. And I was just super happy that like they sat down, they wrote it, they drew it, they colored it and everything, and it looked really, really good. And they're like, we're gonna go around and pitch this to like Image Comics. And it was like something about like a murderous teddy bear that was like disguised as every toy. It was something like real gothy and murdery, and I was just like, yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, and like yeah, just so many like I feel like there's like Hollywood executives and comic executives and all kinds of like especially like C&D and other
Hmm.
game companies. They must get like some stuff pitched to them like all day long where just people in development just gotta go like, what were you thinking? Like a lot of times, like actually, I guess most of the writers that I've rejected are like, dude, you're straight off ripping off this main property, like word for word. Like,
You got to change it 20%. You can take the thing, you change it 20%, and then it's fine.
yeah,
But you can't just do the whole
no,
thing.
yeah, like yeah, plagiarism is still very
Yeah.
much a thing. Like there is definitely something being inspired by, but yeah, like
This is my main character, Lucas Starkiller.
yeah, I like I feel like maybe like there has been like some folks who have gotten away with like enough plagiarism, like where it's like, wow, you can actually do this and like get away with it for a while. Like, yeah, but let's not say we didn't.
Yeah, but yeah, the getting to work on Pack Antics was like pretty much just a dream come true. Like I always wanted to write comics, and I always wanted to work with you on a comic, and getting to figure out like getting to work together and figure out like which champions we were going to do, what their looks were. I mean, we can't cut to it right now, but like honestly, I cannot stress this enough, viewers. Watching Luke draw stuff is mesmerizing because we got in a meeting about like what are they going to look like, and I would say like Minsk should be purple, and then you was like okay, and then you started perfectly drawing Minsk as a kobold. I'm just like, okay, that's great.
And kobolds are such fun little creatures too. Like with fifth edition and all the podcasts and streams that have come out with it,
Hmm.
everyone has kind of gotten on board with like these kobolds are not like fourth edition. It's like where they're kind of like, oh, we're evil sycophants of dragons. Like, no, they're like, no, we're all cute little bumbling idiots. Like, we're so fun. We're so fun and cute. And I guess Chris Perkins is probably to blame for that for Spurt.
Yeah,
Like,
a little bit.
The moment Spurt was invented, it's like, oh, this is it. This is how kobolds are forever. They're just cute and fun and lovable doofs.
I gotta be honest, I'm so jealous of that. It's just like he just got to go on a critical role for like 20 minutes, scream all of his lines, and then leave and make one of the biggest lasting impressions on the community. But yeah, like kobolds were definitely the thing that we were like, okay, well, we got to do kobolds. Like that is the cute thing, and it would be adorable to see all of them. Because I think the idea actually originally spawned from the comic you did for Isle Champions Presents Trials of Mount Tiamat when they got turned into kobolds for that one part of the adventure, and then you drew this absolutely awesome version of all of them as kobolds.
Yeah, that was a really fun one to do. Yeah. And I think right away they did a Havilar skin as a kobold, and we're like, you know what? These aren't hard. These aren't that terrible to put together.
Yeah, now we've got oh my god, what number did we just do? What number just went out? 21. Page 21 of Pact Antics just went up. Yeah, Lauren just put it up on the screen. Oh, that was actually last week's one. Yeah. This one I was so happy about with Yorvin getting ready to jump out of there. And then I'll tell you all this. The reason the 300 feet thing is because when Dylan designed this character, he was just like, I think I can make this Haragon jump 300 feet in the air. And so that's why I specifically said 300 feet in that one.
Oh man, yeah. When the Haragon came out, like I think immediately people were like, "Oh, we know how to break this!" Like because they had all that jump ability. You give them like I think it's like haste and like the jump spell and all that stuff, and they can jump at level 1. They can jump high enough that when they land, there's just absolutely no way they'll survive with all the fall damage. It's like, yep, you have 8 hit points. You can roll 9d6 as you jump 90 feet in the air. If you roll all ones, you're still dead.
Oh god, yeah. Fun times.
Yeah, Yorvin is definitely a fun character. That is a character that I could see you like writing just a series just for that character.
Yeah,
he's a lot of fun.
The description of him, because like when I was getting ready to do the comic, I talked to several people about how the characters talk and everything, and I think Dylan just essentially told me he's Batman. Like, like just think of a Batman that loves to monologue, and that's him. I think it was Dylan that said that, and so like that's what I think of every time. And I loved someone recently on Twitter, I think it might have been Lurking Writer who's in the chat, said that we should get Kevin Conroy to voice Yorvin. I would love that, but there's no way in heck we're ever gonna do that.
No, Kevin Conroy. Shoot, actually, that is like one thing. Like a lot of the Idle Champions characters have come from a podcast, have like established voices and everything that you do know. But Idle Champions does have some of their own characters, where it's like we've never really heard a voice for this character, like for Yorvin. Like for Warden, like they just made him mute. It's like, okay, well, that's one way to get out of it. But they have made a couple characters like definitely could use some voice acting.
Yeah, it would be interesting. It'd be very interesting.
I think you could probably do a good Yorvin though.
Yeah, I would. It would just be me doing a bad Kevin Conroy impression, though.
You got enough of a little bit of gravel in your voice. You could do it.
I'm not doing it right now. Don't get me wrong. Voice acting is literally something I've always wanted to do, but no.
And I really should be practicing more lip syncing and animation. That is still like one of the hardest things for me to do, the lip syncing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, someone said I want full voiceovers for the adventure text. That was a show that we had at one point.
Oh yeah.
Was Improvised Champions with Mark Mir and Christina Ariel, who would read the adventure text like in voices, and it was so cool.
Right. Yeah, they did do that.
I do have to take a quick break here and announce that we have a giveaway that is going to be starting here in just a bit when Martin puts it in the chat. The keyword is going to be Pact Antics. I think it's 2 words because that's how Martin put it in the thing. So Pact Space Antics, and the winner is going to win 42 chests of their choice, except for Bahamut chests. And the giveaway will be going for, oh no, it is 1 word. Pact Antics, 1 word. And the giveaway will go for 2 minutes. It's going right now. Ha ha. So good luck. So, okay, this is an interesting one. Which one of the Pact Antics characters is your favorite to draw?
Ooh, geez, I've done so much of Yorvin lately. I would say him, but my God, I mean, Minsk and Boo have been a lot of fun simply because of the fact I get to draw Boo so much bigger, and because Boo is bigger, I get to put more expressions on him.
Yep. the little chunky Boo that you drew is just my favorite thing. I love it. You look like you're thinking a little bit more.
Well, definitely, like, I would say out of the probably, yeah, Yorvin or Minsk, yeah, both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is funny because I think those are my 2 favorites to write.
Yeah, because those guys have a lot of personality behind them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, where like Celeste is a nice, she's a nice complimentary character.
Mm.
Calliope, I think, would probably maybe do a little bit on her own because like she is like kind of a spotlight character as a bard.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, geez, Zaps could definitely like have their own series as well too. Because
Zaps is so much fun.
Yeah. Yeah, an Iron Man kind of goblin. Yeah. Yeah, definitely definitely could have their own series.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, the writing Minsk is just so much fun because I just always hear Jim Zub in my voice, in the voice that he's doing in my head while I'm writing him. But tell you what, let's see what chat has been up to with some questions. While the giveaway is still, I think, wrapping up here in just a moment.
Chat just keeps saying Pact Antics, Pact Antics.
Yeah.
Oh, someone wrote it as 2 words.
Oh yeah, and then.
Oh, I would also like to do a little brag though.
Oh yeah.
We were coming around to developing Pact Antics as a comic. We're like, oh, what should you call this
comic
title? And I was like, Pact Antics.
And it was like not even a conversation. Like Dylan and I both went, perfect. No notes. Like that's it. That's the name.
Yeah, I would really like that to be like an ability like this Pact Pact Tactics.
Oh, Pact Tactics. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see like, yeah, if you have a group of bards, you can have Pact Antics.
I think that'd be fantastic. We're gonna have to workshop that one.
Yep. There's a new bard subclass so they can like work with other bards.
It looks like we got a winner. Zero Luck YXD has won. Congratulations. So let's see what chat's been up to. Garwar says, "Is it fan art if it's of your own character?"
Oh, good. I suppose.
I mean, I guess it is. Yeah, I think it's still fan art.
It's context.
You're a fan of your own stuff.
If it's not going to be in the actual comic, yeah.
What is okay? Real Buddy B says, question. So is the Squirrel Army just the latest iteration of asking folks to come over and watch great shows? Have you invited the Squirrel family to watch Red versus Blue yet?
The Squirrel Army, like you mean like
yeah, like your squirrels?
No, they generally don't like a lot of TV. They every once in a while they'll look at my phone. Like when they're just kind of sitting in my hand, like if I'm playing on my phone and they're sitting on my shoulders, like they'll get a little interested in the phone. But
if you all don't follow Luke on Twitter, he is a druid. He has an army of squirrels ready to go at any time.
I just left a couple nuts out there for Bitey.
Bitey?
Yep. Yeah, well, Bitey is actually very gentle. It's just when he first came out of the tree, he was just like 6 weeks old, and he was just learning to take nuts from me for the first time. He was learning how to take nuts out of my hand. He kind of missed the nut and just bit onto my hand here. And I was like kind of pulling. He didn't break the skin or anything. He just bit onto me and was like,
that's adorable.
So he got the name Bitey.
I love that so much. Let's see.
They are gray squirrels. All the red squirrels are kind of killed off in this area. I think there's
Oh.
hardly any left in the United States. All the gray squirrels killed off the red squirrels.
Oh wow, the Great Gray Red War.
Yeah, I think the gray squirrels came over from Europe, and I think
that makes sense. Let's see. This is
favorite character other than Warduke or Akira.
You're jumping ahead on me. You're jumping ahead on me.
Yeah, I just opened up the chat there, like, oh. Other than Warduke, I do like Warduke and Strongheart. I love those original characters. Geez. Other than that, Draxel is always a really good favorite.
He is fun to write.
Yeah, whenever I play the Forgotten Realms, I usually throw Draxel in the background doing something stupid, like oh, this drow comes by and he offers you this thing, or he's playing like 3-card Monty. And it's like I usually throw Draxel into my games. Who's some other notable NPCs I like to tinker with?
I have thrown Minsk in a lot of games.
Actually, yeah, Minskaboo I've thrown a lot in games too.
The
Red Viper. Red Viper, of course.
Oh yeah.
Red Viper, like whenever I do comics that just say needs a standard rogue, it's like that's Red Viper.
Which is ironic because that is not your standard rogue.
Or the Red Viper, Black Viper. Sorry.
I knew what you meant. I was thinking the same. Okay, let's see what
there's a lot of red in Black Viper's costume.
Let's see what Ramus 2 says. Question: any info on seeing something in comics from Legends of the Multiverse? No, we aren't working with them right now. I mean, that would be really cool. Space stuff is fun. But we'll see what the future has for comic stuff, because there's things that haven't been announced yet that could be happening at some point or another in the future.
Yeah, so stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Eventually, we're gonna get to everything eventually. Like if you got an idea,
we're gonna do everything. Yeah, that's it.
We're gonna do it all.
Jeez. Lurking Writer says, question for Luke: what's it like to work with Treavor?
It's okay. I mean, it's all right.
I mean, I'll take that.
It's been worse. Although no, it has been very nice. So I'm not sure if you did know. So Treavor did take over as the community manager from my wife Lauren. So it was quite nice to see someone take over and like just be very nice and personal, and someone who can like reach out and like I'm used to my wife being able to do it because I live with her. But it was like, oh man, I'm not sure if I can get to know the new community manager very well. If he's just be busy, or if he just does his work and keeps his head down. But nope. Treavor was really nice to kind of reach out to me and like kind of like, hey, you're my new friend.
I try when I can.
that is a lost art to adults of like making friends, where as a kid you go to school, you just walk up to the nearest kid, go, hey, you're my new friend. And like, yeah, all right. Like, want to go play at recess? And that's it. This is how you form a long-lasting relationship. So a lot of adults forget how to do that. Fortunately, Treavor doesn't know how to do it. Just walk up, hey, how you doing? All right, you're my new friend. We'll go get lunch. Yeah, all right.
The amount of friends that I've made in my adulthood that is almost exactly like that too.
Yeah, that's always been the way of how you make friends. You just literally walk up to them and tell them, hey, you want to be my new friend? And if they go, yeah. It's like, okay, let's go get a sandwich.
Yep. But, I actually missed that there was more of Lurking Writer's question. Are you usually in sync with an idea, or do you spend a long time going back and forth on the panels? What tips can you give to writers to make collaborating with an artist more enjoyable / productive experience for both parties? I mean, for the first one, I feel like we're pretty in sync on it because we have very few conversations about it.
Yeah, I will say that is something that does take a lot of time. If you're an artist-writer combo, it's just going to take time of like learning how each other syncs up. Usually a nice, good step out the front door helps. And definitely I would say this, like for writers who want to work with an artist, you're going to be working with you're going to tell someone to make an image. And the word is like a picture paints 1,000 words. So a picture paints 1,000 words. So if you're starting off writing, put 1,000 words to make one picture. Like start off like overwrite it. Like just write too much to start with, and the artist will say, let's cut this, let's cut this, let's cut this, like this. But definitely overwrite to start with. And as you work with your artist more and more and more, you can write less and less and less, and kind of like just do it's like a thing like this. You know what I mean? And like, yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
But when you start off, write it all out. Write 1,000 words for a single image.
I feel like that's actually kind of how we started too, because like yeah, at the beginning I was writing these big paragraphs for the description portion of it, and putting obviously too much in there because again I'm not an artist. I don't know how much can fit in one of those boxes. But I feel like I'm at the point now where I can better visualize what works for you to draw.
Yeah,
Um,
I think I gave you some tips along the way. I was saying like only put this many characters of text,
mhm.
and only like one action per frame, maybe kind of two from several people, but like and like one emotion per frame. I think I gave some tips of like what I can. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some people who can maybe do better, but like with other writers that I've worked with to say like, oh, he's like feeling sad, and then this, it's like in the same panel, he's sad and then excited. Can't really do that. And definitely like with like text, like some writers love like, oh, lots of text, like great. It's like there's a finite amount of space and text fills up a lot. So if you like, I want 8 characters in a single panel, they're all doing this, and there's like 600 lines of text. No, man.
Nope, nope, not gonna work. Yeah,
There's only
and
so much.
and that's one of the things. Like, I love dialogue. Like, that's one of my favorite things to write. And so yeah, this has been a nice exercise in being more concise, getting to the point faster with fewer pieces of dialogue and whatnot. So it's been fun. It's been fun to do. As far as yeah, like tips for like collaborating and whatnot. Yeah, I really it is just get along with the person you're working with. I feel like you need to want to work with them. Like you want to do this thing, and that want from both of you will help things work. And obviously, leaving your pride and ego at the door, and not being like, I know what I'm doing. It's like I came into this, I'm like, sure, I've written books, I've kind of sometimes written comic scripts, but does this look good?
Oh no,
So yeah, no,
oh no,
100%.
I've been doing this for like 10 plus years now, and definitely I'm still doing everything. Does this look okay? Does this look okay?
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. Like the parts when it comes to like when you send me the panels, you're like, how does this look? Or you'll let me know, like, hey, I changed this part of it to work better in the frame and stuff like that. And it's yep, nope, that made it work perfect. It's one of those things like I can write it out however I want, but getting it to look good on the panel, that is 100% like your call. And I usually trust, like I think there's only been one time where I'm like, oh, could we go back to that one? But like most time, like it's yeah, you know what looks good in that panel, so I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah, that was definitely I think something that got me early on in the comic days when I was working with Raider Griffin, like where I'd kind of like make changes that I thought was best, and just like have someone, no, don't do it like that. No, let's change it. Like yeah, like some of those like first, even though it was drawing terrible at the time, was like just have someone like, no, I don't like how you drew it. Do it again. It's like just that like, oh,
Oh.
like criticism. Oh, I can't take it. Oh, and it was so constructive and nicely said to me. It's like, but still, yeah, it is hard to kind of like go like, oh yeah, you need to change, no problem, I'll fix that. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because most of the times like it's no problem at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's see. You answered that one. Lurking Rare has a follow-up. Follow up with what Luke just said about would would you like to be my friends? Sure, Lurking Rider, we'll be your friends.
Yeah, let's get a sandwich.
Yeah. Okay, I think the last one that I'm gonna do is from. Okay, we'll do two because it's both from Rough Rider 91. Question: would Luke consider guesting on Sketching Hour?
Yeah, I've take a look at the program for Sketching Hour, and like generally it's Alexis and Michelle. Like, but if and are sick, I've always put my name in the hat of like, hey, if you need someone to fill in, like, I think once or twice I've been called into like, hey, can you fill in for Michelle or Alexis who's like away or ill or
Mm-hmm.
something like that, or just isn't able to be it. I've said yeah, and I just haven't done it yet. Ivy and Anita have been able to fill in so far, and they've done really well. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
if it comes up, I'll fill in whenever. Like I try and help out with the art department where I can here and there, but they generally got their stuff together. So
Heck yeah, that'd be awesome. Then their second question is, will there be an owlbear antics upcoming? I don't know about,
Look at. Yeah, well,
it'd be cool. It'd be cool, but I don't know if we're gonna go that far with it. But we'll see.
I do like how we had like those 2 weeks back to back where the Owlbear comic blended one into the other, and the Pact Antics comic blended one into the other.
Yeah, that was so cool. Oh yeah, Lauren brought that up with the two that just flow perfectly into each other. That was so dang cool. But who knows? Maybe we'll change up what creatures it is. But that is for future us to think about.
Well, yeah. So we're doing the kobold one.
Mm-hmm.
Owlbear one is being proposed here. What would be another good one?
No.
Red pandas. Goblins. Everyone's transformed into gelatinous cubes.
I think that would be a little interesting to get a characters. I can't say words. Just get the sense of the character. Just put their armor floating in the cube.
Oh, I could do it. Oh yeah, no, I could do it.
Lauren said Aarakocras. Squirrels. Could do squirrels.
Squirrels, yeah.
Yeah. Garwar would like dwarves.
Everyone's a dwarf, folk. And
yeah.
And anyone who was already a dwarf before is even smaller.
Yes, exactly. Oh god, that'd be fun. Mini Tarasques. Well, Luke, thank you so much for taking time and sitting down with me today to talk about some D&D and some webcomics. I always love getting to talk with you. If people want to find you and your work on the interwebs, where could they do so?
Oh, you can generally find me at Luke McKay on Twitter, at Luke McKay. I believe if it's not at Luke McKay, it's sometimes at Luke McKay 76. So yeah, like my YouTube, my Instagram, or at Luke McKay at Luke McKay 76.
Yeah, definitely go follow him on Instagram because there is a lot of hidden gold on there that I didn't know about and scrolled through for a very long time.
Yeah, Instagram's where I put all my practice animation on there.
Yeah. But that is going to do it for this week's episode. Thank you again, Luke, for joining me. But yeah, it's going to do it for this week. So until next week, take care of yourself.
Cheers.